Doctor Who Encounter with the Daleks. The TARDIS managed to find its way to its next destination quite easily. The Doctor looked outside. A petrified jungle, he said to himself. I wonder what this used to be. Further along the planet's surface was a city, and they had cameras watching everywhere on the planet. And the occupants of that city were now looking down the camera at the new arrivals that had arrived on their planet. Strangers, one of them said. We must capture and interrogate them, the Dalek said. Doctor Who Encounter with the Daleks, written and read by Nick Payne. The Doctor stepped onto the surface of the planet. I was right, he said to himself. Petrified. He then called inside, Come along, you lot. Liam, Bridget and Susie stepped out nervously out of the TARDIS. Where the heck are we? Liam demanded to know. I don't know, the Doctor said, but it's most exciting. Not really, Bridget said coldly. Can't you just take us home? The Doctor sighed. Oh, very well, he said. Liam and Bridget then calmed down. Thank you, they said in unison. Just as soon as we are done looking around here, the Doctor said. Liam and Bridget frowned. Susie also frowned. She didn't like seeing her teachers sad, and she had grown to like them over her time at the school, and she didn't like how her grandfather was being mean and unfair to them. Yes, they had intruded into the TARDIS uninvited, but she understood their reasoning. She also knew that the Doctor could easily have erased their memories. So why was he messing around with them? She sighed and followed her grandfather, with Liam and Bridget behind her. About 5 minutes later, Bridget tripped over a petrified branch, landing in the petrified sand. Be careful, the Doctor said. Watch out for trees and rocks. My girl. He then walked on. Bridget scowled. You better watch yourself, she growled quietly. Liam helped her up. You okay? He asked her. Only my pride, she said. Liam smiled. Then they walked further on, only for Liam to trip over a rock and fall down a small hill into something metal. Ow! Liam cried out. You really should have been looking where you were going, the Doctor scoffed. Bridget shot him a scowl with disgust. Oh, stop looking at me like that, Bridget, the Doctor said. It ruins your lovely face. Stop treating us like crap, Liam said, recovering from his ordeal. Bridget then helped him up. Please do not be so rude, young man, the Doctor said firmly. Bridget then lost it, accidentally letting go of Liam before he stabilised, causing him to fall back down again. Ah! Thankfully, he missed the metal thing this time. He has every right to be rude to you if you are going to treat him like this, Bridget exclaimed. Why are you doing this to us? I'm merely teaching you a lesson, my dear, the Doctor said. You can't barge into other people's homes normally, so I don't see why barging into mine should be any different. I'm sure they didn't mean to be rude, Grandfather, Susie said. They were just worried about me. They had good intentions, even if the means weren't the best. Oh, child, if only you would think like an adult sometimes, the Doctor said as Bridget helped Liam up. And you need to stop acting like a child, Susie yelled. There's no point being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes, the Doctor exclaimed, contradicting his own statement. He then walked away without a care in the world. Susie sighed and followed him. Liam and Bridget also followed. No one had noticed what exactly Liam had knocked into. The metal creature turned its dome head round and watched the four strangers walking away. Strangers located? Elevate! The creature said, and followed the travellers. The four travellers managed to reach the edge of the petrified jungle, where a massive cliff loomed over them. How the hell do we get up there? Liam said. I don't know, the Doctor said. Oh well, I guess it's back to the TARDIS then, Bridget said. Don't be ridiculous, girl, the Doctor said. Come on. He walked around to what appeared to be an elevator. The Doctor said. Odd. He stepped inside. Well, come on then, he said. Susie, Liam and Bridget complied and stepped inside. The elevator took them to the top of the cliff, where the travellers faced a decision. Which door did they want to go through? They had a choice of 3. The Doctor decided to go through the right door, and Susie decided to go with him, whilst Liam went through the middle door, and Bridget went through the left door. All 4 of them had been in a bad mood ever since their petty argument earlier in the Petrified Jungle. The corridors all looked the same, a disgusting mix of silver and pink. The doctor declared that the citizens of the city had no good decoration sense. Susie agreed. Bridget and Liam also disliked the colour scheme. Bridget thought it looked like gone-off salmon. Eventually, Bridget walked into a dead end. "Bother," she said. "I'll have to go back." Suddenly, the door behind her closed. "What is going on?" she asked. Then a wall raised, like one of the doors. "Oh, good," Bridget said, and moved towards the gap. But then she stopped. Her face fell, then twisted into fear. She then backed up against the wall behind her. She screamed as the metal creature, one like the one from the forest, came closer to her. Meanwhile, Liam met up with the doctor and Susie. They headed into a room where they found gyroscopes detecting high radiation levels on the planet. "We've got to get back to the TARDIS," the doctor said. "Not until we find Bridget," Liam said. "This place is huge and she hasn't turned up yet." "He's right, Grandfather. We do need to find Bridget before leaving," Susie said. "Oh, very well," the doctor said. "But once we get back, we need to take some anti-radiation drugs." "Agreed," Susie said. The trio headed into the next room. They were stopped in their tracks by 4 blue and silver pepper-pot-shaped robot-like creatures, each with one eye on domes, with sucker and gun attachments. "Who are you?" the doctor asked. "We are the Daleks," one of them said, in a chilling, robotic voice. "You will move ahead of us and follow my directions," the Dalek said. It turned. "This way." Its dome turned back to look at the trio. "Immediately." Its blank eyes stared at the travellers. "I think we better do what it says," the doctor said as he and Susie moved forward. But Liam stayed where he was. "I said immediately!" the Dalek yelled. Liam moved, but then turned and ran down the other corridor. "Exterminate!" the first and lead Dalek yelled. It fired and hit Liam, who collapsed to the ground. He sat up and found that he couldn't move his legs. "Ow!" Liam said. Susie and the doctor turned back. "Stop!" a second Dalek said. The first moved towards Liam. "Your legs are paralysed," it said. "You will recover shortly, but if you force us to use our weapons again, the outcome will be more severe." "You mean you will kill him?" the doctor asked. "Yes," the first Dalek said, looking back at the doctor and Susie. "You two, help him," the first Dalek said. The second Dalek then allowed the doctor and Susie pass to help Liam. "My legs! Oh, hang on, that's better," Liam said, as his legs recovered, just as the first Dalek had said. A third Dalek then showed them to a cell further into the city, whilst the fourth Dalek brought up the rear. On guard was a fifth Dalek, who opened the cell door. Bridget was waiting there. The fifth Dalek's sucker arm indicated the doctor, Susie and Liam to enter the cell, which they did. The door closed behind them, and the third and fourth Daleks went away. The quartet were left in their cell. Unknown to them, the first and second Daleks were watching them via a security camera and microphone. "Who are they?" the second Dalek asked the first. "Our scout from outside the city informed us about them," the first replied. "They are aliens from off-world." "Impossible," the second Dalek said. "No life can exist on any other planet in the 12 galaxies. There are more than 12 galaxies, you twit," the first Dalek replied. It then turned back to watch the TARDIS crew. The second Dalek did the same. "Maybe the prisoners may drop some information about where they came from." The two Daleks watched and listened. However, most of what they heard wasn't quite what they wanted to hear. "This is all your fault," Liam shouted at the doctor. "How can it be my fault, sir?" the doctor asked. "Well," Liam began, "first you kidnapped me and Bridget, then your arch enemy, future or whatever, the Master, attempts to kill us, then you force us to explore a planet which has a high level of radiation that we have absorbed and will most likely die from, and now we get stuck in this city with these Dalek robots." "We are not robots," the voice of the fifth Dalek yelled from outside. "We are mutants in metal tanks, therefore we are cyborgs." "Oh, shut up!" Liam yelled from outside. "You defy the Daleks!" the Dalek yelled. "He has a point, Grandfather," Susie said. "You have been treating them like shit. And now look what you've gotten us into." "Don't give me lip, young lady," the doctor said. He sat in silence for a long time. "Don't you have anything to say?" Bridget asked. The doctor remained silent. "I do," the Dalek outside said. "Silence!" Liam shouted. "I like that word," the first Dalek said, watching its prisoners on the monitor. Its dome twisted so that its eye faced one of the other Daleks. A sixth Dalek, The Dalek from outside arrived. The first Dalek looked at the third Dalek. "Provide them with food and water," it commanded. "I obey," the third Dalek said. The first Dalek looked at the sixth. "What did you discover?" "I discovered that the prisoners have a time and space machine. If we can capture it, we could use it for our advantage." "Yes," the first Dalek said. "We have also noticed that the radiation affects them. We could send them back to bring their ship to us in exchange for drugs to combat the radiation which they have absorbed." The first Dalek then rolled out of the room after the third Dalek. On the way down, they could hear the fifth Dalek screaming to the prisoners, "You dare to ignore the Daleks! You will be exterminated for your impudence!" The third Dalek entered the cell with food and water. "I bring you food and water," it said. Liam took the tray of food and water from the Dalek, who backed up into the first Dalek. Crash. "Watch where you are going!" the first Dalek yelled. "Sorry," said the third. The first Dalek twisted its dome and eye towards the prisoners. "One of you will return to your vessel and return here with it and hand it over to us. In return, we will provide you drugs to combat the radiation which you have absorbed whilst you are here on this planet." "Over my dead body," the doctor replied. "It can be arranged," the first Dalek said. "Besides, you will not survive long without the drugs." "But none of us are fit enough to go," the doctor said. "I am," Susie said, "and I can pilot the TARDIS." "You foolish girl!" the doctor exclaimed. "Don't you realise what will happen if the TARDIS falls into the wrong hands? Or in this case, suckers?" "Yes," Susie smiled. "Yes, I do." She then turned back to the Daleks. "Okay, let's go," she said. "Excellent," the first Dalek said. "Come with me." The first and third Daleks moved away from the cell and back to the city walls. The fifth Dalek closed the cell door. The doctor began to sob. "Oh, Susie, my dear granddaughter, why would you do this? You betrayed me and our home. Oh, Susie." Liam and Bridget looked at each other. They too were surprised at Susie's enthusiastic commitment to bringing the TARDIS to the city, and by extent, the Daleks. The first and third Daleks and Susie reached the city wall, where Susie then headed down the elevator to the bottom of the cliff and headed to the Petrified Jungle, watched by the two Daleks. She walked through the Petrified Jungle to the TARDIS, pulling out her key and placing it into the lock of the TARDIS. She then went inside and went up to the console. She placed in the coordinates and pulled a lever. The TARDIS sprung into motion. She then quickly grabbed some anti-radiation drugs. The TARDIS then landed. The TARDIS materialised inside the cell where the TARDIS team were being held. Susie opened the door and called to the others. "Right, everybody in, now!" she yelled. Bridget and Liam didn't hesitate and rushed inside. The Doctor followed, though not as quickly, into the TARDIS. Susie then activated the controls and the TARDIS dematerialised. The cell door opened and the fifth Dalek entered and looked around. "Oh, shit!" The Daleks hadn't completely lost their chance in gaining the ability to travel in space and time. They had scanned and monitored the TARDIS from the moment it arrived. They now understood the TARDIS, and now they could develop their own time and space machines with their own technology. "This is only the beginning," the first Dalek declared. "We will prepare, we will grow stronger. When the time is right, we will take our rightful place as the supreme beings of the universe." "Wow," the fourth Dalek said sarcastically. "That speech has never been done before." "Oh, shut up!" the first Dalek yelled. "But I don't understand, Susie," the Doctor said. "I thought you were going to give the Daleks the power to travel in time and space. No, my plan was to rescue you guys and get away as fast as I could, Susie said, then handed out some anti-radiation drugs. They all took their drugs. After that, they felt a lot better. So, Grandfather, Susie said, I think you owe Mr. Chesterton and Miss Wright an apology. Oh, very well, the doctor said. I'm sorry I kidnapped you and got you into danger. I only wanted to teach you a lesson and open your mind to the possibilities beyond your own time and space and understanding. Liam and Bridget smiled. We forgive you, they said. And you're right, Bridget added. We shouldn't have intruded. Sorry. Yes, sorry, Liam said. Apologies accepted, the doctor said. So, he then clapped his hands. Where next? Or do you two just want to go home? Liam and Bridget looked at each other, then back at the doctor and Susie. They smiled. We'll give this another go, Bridget replied. The doctor and Susie smiled. Onwards then. The doctor declared. He and Susie then pulled a lever each, and the TARDIS roared into life. Taking the quartet to their next adventure. The end. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Audio YouTube channel.